Life is a highway. I want a podcast all night long.
All night.
And welcome to YYZ Video, your film book club of choice. This is Press YYZ's bi-weekly movie review show where we take a series, starting with all the Pixar films. We're ranking them, we're reviewing them, we're talking all about them. You can watch the show on youtube.com/PressYYZ or listen whenever you want on whatever service you want. We appreciate however you choose to support the show. If you got nothing to toss our way, it's no big deal. We're happy to have you listening along. Before we get started, remember, as always, be good to each other. Discrimination of any kind, be it over one's race, gender, sexual orientation, or anything else, is wrong and will not be tolerated within our community. I am your host, Mr. Mitch George, and joined as always by Nick Blaine.
Life is a highway. I'm gonna ride it all night long. Where we going, Mitch? We don't need roads, okay? I forgot. I'm a car.
Nick is a car.
Ka-chisel. All right.
You good?
Yeah.
Was that worth it?
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Our multi-award winning film baby, Alex Ballant.
I have no words from what I just saw. All I could say is kachow.
And TJ's here too, Mr. TJ Beckham.
Wow. Thank you for the introduction.
I don't know what to say after what Nick just did to me. If I'd known that was the case, that would have been the last one. No, you guys had to
We had
team behind the
to
scenes.
ruin the surprise.
Fine.
I blame TJ.
The film we are going to be discussing today is Cars. As you could tell by Nick having to be a car in the introduction for some reason.
Is that the movie we were supposed to watch?
You were in there watching it with us. Did you fall asleep? Like, what is it?
We'll get into that later.
Oh,
All right, well, Cars. Some fun facts on the film. We'll get into what we thought. Carmi's Corner returns, and then we'll go through the plot of the film. Some fun facts. The film is once again directed by John Lasseter, returning after directing Toy Story 1, 2, and something else that I forget.
Was it a Bug's Life?
Bug's Life?
Bug's Life, probably?
I think.
Probably.
That sounds right.
This film is co-directed by Joe Ranft, who we'll discuss in a bit. Screenplay written by Dan Fogelman, Lasseter, Ranft, Keel Murray, Phil Lauren, and Jorgen Klubian. Fun fact, Dan Fogelman, if that name sounds familiar, is the creator behind This Is Us.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
From an original story by Lasseter, Ranft, and Klubian. The film is dedicated to Joe Ranft, the film's co-director and co-writer, who tragically passed away in a car accident, which we've discussed more than once on the show, during the film's production. This is the final film to have been independently produced by Pixar after it's purchased by Disney in January of 2006. The film Cars premiered May 26th, 2006 at Lowe's Motor Speedway in Concord, North Carolina, and was theatrically released in the United States on June 9th, 2006. I thought that was fun because the film debuted at a racetrack. The film was released to generally positive reviews, was well received, achieved commercial success, grossing over $460 million worldwide on an initial budget of $120 million. It was nominated for 2 Academy Awards, including Best Animated Feature, but lost to Happy Feet.
Happy Feet's a fucking great movie.
It's not a good movie, dude.
Yeah, it is.
Happy
It's
Feet
so much
sucks,
better than
but
Happy
that's
Feet.
another
Happy Feet's
conversation.
great.
Well, it was also nominated for the Annie Award for Best Animated Feature and the Golden Globe for Best Animated Feature Film, and won both of those. It is the first Pixar film to have been nominated but not win Best Animated Feature at the Oscars since Monsters Incorporated. Both were also nominated for Best Original Song. Cars lost, but Monsters Inc. did win. The film was released on home media so it was the last Pixar film to be released on VHS and was released on DVD November 7th, 2006, and was the first Pixar film to be released on Blu-ray in 2007.
Oh, damn.
Oh.
And another interesting fact, Cars is the first time a Pixar film released the same year as a computer animated film from Walt Disney Animation Studios. This was Walt Disney Studios' The Wild, which, fun fact, also stars Richard Kind, who makes an appearance in this movie. This happened for every Pixar film released after Cars, with the exceptions of Up and Cars 2, which both released the same year as the last two hand-drawn animated films from Walt Disney Animation Studios, those being The Princess and the Frog and Winnie the Pooh.
See, the reason they avoided that is because Disney didn't want to put computer animated films next to garbage. So,
Wow.
We might need a new co-host by the time we get to Up.
I'm gonna do the executive decision and kick TJ out. I'm sorry, everybody.
Yeah.
For audio listeners, he just was wrong. So I just wanted to let you know.
Yeah, from this point forward, just cut him out of the podcast.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, just kill his audio feed. Just kill his audio feed. Actually, give me. Okay, yeah. So we've killed TJ's audio feed, so we're good to go. Are you gonna behave?
I have the power to unmute myself.
I know you do. That's part of the problem. Okay.
I have
Let's
the
get
power.
Okay. This film was accompanied in theaters by the short film One Man Band, which we will discuss later on in the podcast. Let's get into the cast. So, starring as Lightning McQueen is one Owen Wilson. And my God, does that voice fit animation real well.
Yeah.
Wow.
Honestly, yeah.
Fun fact, this was Owen Wilson's first animated feature.
Wow.
You have Paul Newman in his last feature film role, portraying Doc Hudson, a 1951 Hudson Hornet, later revealed to be...
Sorry,
Go ahead. No, we won't get into spoilers yet. Then we'll handle it in the plot. Go ahead.
I just mentioned. I know I mentioned this in our watch along last night. My entire life, I thought it was Burt Reynolds who did Doc Hudson. I found out last night it was not.
Huh.
So I found out a few years ago, because I was the one who revealed it to TJ. I found out a few years ago that it was Paul Newman. I didn't know who it was. I was just like, oh, I don't recognize that gravelly voice. And like now, like having seen some of Newman's films, like I get it. I see it now.
I lost my notes. Give me a second. Bonnie Hunt portrays the Porsche in the film, the lawyer in the town, Sally Carrera. Fun fact, and I didn't fact check this, so I'm doing this live, and that's never a good sign. She also voiced a character in Monsters, Inc., right?
Yeah, and in Toy Story. Or Toy Story 3.
Toy Story?
Toy Story 3. And in Bug's Life.
Oh.
Yeah, so she is a Pixar veteran at this point.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, because she voices
we have...
the never mind. I'm putting it together. Go ahead.
It's okay. We have another animated feature film debut for one Larry the Cable Guy, who portrays a mater, who is the tow truck in the small town that Lightning ends up stuck in.
Dude,
What's with the giggle?
Mater is so good in this movie.
Tony Shalhoub voices Luigi, a Fiat 500 who runs the tire store in town.
Which I was very surprised, because like you can, once you know, you can hear Tony Shalhoub, but you don't hear it until that moment. Also, we'll get to our thoughts about Mater later.
We will. Cheech Marin plays a lowrider Impala named Ramon. George Carlin, in his last feature film as well, portrays Fillmore, a 1960s VW bus. Richard Petty, famous NASCAR personality driver, voices Strip the King Weathers. Fun fact about this, Richard Petty retired from racing in a very similar fashion to how the King goes out at the end of this movie, which we'll get to. Voicing the King's wife is Linda Petty, his real-life wife. So that was fun.
Pretty nice.
Michael Keaton is in here as Chick Hicks, which I didn't actually realize until this viewing of this film that is goddamn Michael Keaton.
100% you hear it too. Like he's got.
You do. Once you hear it, you hear it.
As I said, like when we were doing their watch party, it's like it's the Keaton lisp.
We get our Pixar staple voice role, John Ratzenberger, reappearing in yet another Pixar film. He voices Mac, Lightning's truck. Basically, his delivery person. I don't know what you would call him. Joe Ranft, co-director of the film that we mentioned earlier, who tragically passed away, actually voices a couple characters here. He is the voice of Red, the fire engine in Radiator Springs, as well as the voice of the mean truck that Lightning mistakes for Mac when he gets lost on the highway.
Oh, really? The Peterbilt?
Yeah, the Peterbilt truck. We get, as far as I know, this is the first time this has happened, but we have one character portrayed by two different actors. Harv, Lightning McQueen's agent, who's never seen in the film. In the US version of the movie, he's voiced by Jeremy Piven. And in the UK version, he is voiced by Top Gear's Jeremy Clarkson.
Interesting.
Honestly, I know it's such a small part, but Jeremy Piven, just like, I know he's not a great human being, but I love Ari Gold in Entourage, one of my favorite characters just of almost any medium. He's just a great, funny fucking person. And the fact that he's in this playing an agent killed me.
I left this one in just for TJ because there's no real significance to this other than the fact that he is a well-known owner around the NASCAR scene. Humpy Wheeler voices Tex Dinoco.
I died when I found out his name last night. What a dumb name!
Continuing on this trend of NASCAR personalities making their way into the film, you have Dale Earnhardt Jr. in this, voicing Junior, which is another number 8 car, so he's basically voicing a version of himself. Michael Schumacher makes an appearance as a Ferrari later in the film. You have Jay Leno, who does a cameo as Jay Limo, which I thought was great. You have Richard Kind and Edie McClurg as Van and Minnie, 2 minivans that get lost in Radiator Springs, which is a ton of fun. And the last one I have here, the voices of Rusty and Dusty from the Rusteze Company, Tom and Ray Magliozzi. Do you know who Tom and Ray Magliozzi are?
No idea.
Nope.
They are the hosts of Car Talk.
Huh.
A
I don't
very
know what Car Talk
well-known...
is.
Yeah.
Isn't it-
me either.
It's up there. Like, it's one of the most listened to podcasts.
Yeah, it is the pinnacle of like car discussion podcasts.
Mhm.
Like, games and hobbies, Car Talk.
It's
way
like-
up here. YYZ video, like
3 billion,
Subterranean.
3,200,000,000.
Yeah.
You'd have to go downstairs from your apartment to
Yeah.
say where we were.
Yeah.
Okay.
okay. And with that, I think we'll get into Carmi's Corner.
Carmi's
We're bringing my wife, and she
Carmi's
has
Corner.
things to discuss.
Carmi's Corner, Carmi's Corner, conspiracies and other stuff. It's Carmi's Corner, Carmi's Corner, Carmi's Corner. Gonna get that fucking pie out of the oven. Then she's coming to bring a chair, cause she's got conspiracies. Carmi's Corner, Carmi's Corner. Woo!
I also realized that at this point we would have talked about what we thought about the film, so let's do that. I'm bringing my wife in. We'll do Carmi's Corner, but we'll also talk about in general.
I
how
did
we
the
thought about the
whole
movie.
song, you know? That's a bit.
Start with your
More
conspiracy
than
theories,
the whole
honey.
song.
Conspiracy theories, and then we'll get into what we thought about the
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Zooming on in. Vroom. It's like a
Vroom.
car.
Zoom in, it's like a car.
I'm just scared these headphones are gonna zap me again because that's what they were doing the last time.
Yeah, that was
my.
weird.
Like
She got a shock from my...
I got a shock from
Bit
his
of a wake up.
headphones.
You want to take mine instead?
Kind of.
All right, here.
Switching
Oh, man, these ones are way
headphones,
too loud,
Carmi's
so when I put them down,
Corner,
like, ah.
Carmi's Corner. Mitch is gonna get zapped, and it's gonna be really funny.
Doesn't help with his tinnitus too.
Oh yeah, I should probably put it in the not tinnitus-y ear,
Yeah.
and, rather than the tinnitus-y
Sorry guys,
ear.
I was on Instagram. I was looking at Costco.
Very important. Very important as we're trying to record a podcast.
Just give me a second. There we go. That's I'm like, what? Carmi's Corner.
Go ahead.
Oh,
Go
he's
ahead.
ready. Okay, so I have one theory today.
All right.
Okay,
All right.
hello. Okay, so remember the Bugs Life episode when the bugs were the only thing on Earth or whatever?
Mhm.
Remember how we were talking about that? So this one, it's there was a number of theories, but I only picked one because you only have to choose one for this segment. So cars aren't actually cars; they're highly evolved bugs. So is a Bug's Life and Cars in the same universe?
You might
Yes.
be
Oh,
onto
yeah.
something there because in the
That's really
film.
what it is.
Well, and in the film, we see like the bug cars, so it could be
Yeah.
like a
Yeah,
thing
they're
of like the
Volkswagen Beetles, which
Yeah.
is great because those are nicknamed as bugs.
well, and it's like that's like might be a step in the evolution, like you know, I can
Yeah.
see it. I can see it.
Yeah, like the whole theory is it revolves around the fact that like different films take place in different time periods in this whole universe thing. So even though you have like 1950s cars, it's 1950 from what? Like you don't know what the actual like.
But they're
point of
actually,
origin is.
but they're even saying there was a World War II.
Yeah,
Oh,
There
They
was
do.
a World War II
They
because of
do.
the
I have that in my notes of the World War II. It's because like there's a Walton Jeep in this. So does that
Yeah.
mean there are car like
was our car war.
Nazis and
Was
car
there a
Maybe-
car
war too?
holocaust?
maybe.
Yeah, the
Maybe
car
it
we do have
wasn't-
a Humvee in here as well, who is a bad caricature of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Maybe maybe it's World Car 1. You know,
Mm.
maybe they only had
So
one.
rather than talking about World Car One, do we want to get into what we thought about the movie while we've got my lovely wife here with us?
Sure.
Let's do it.
All right, honey, what do you think about the movie?
Oh, I fell asleep. Okay, so this is what happened last night. We started the movie. I remember it starting, falling asleep, and waking up when it said that's a wrap for our stream. So
Yep.
this is very, very, very low on my Disney Pixar list. And I know I'm going to get a lot of slack from you guys because you guys love the movie. And yeah. So if we are doing a rank,
That's later.
Our marriage might depend on
I
this.
don't think I should be a part of the rank this time.
I'll call
because
my-
it's gonna get bad.
I'll call him Mulligan.
That's-
I'll call
that's
him Mulligan
only-
if we get there.
Only
trust
if it
me.
gets to a tie, but I
Yeah.
have no faith.
I have something we can do. It'll be
What?
fun.
What?
We'll call in a ringer.
Who we're gonna call?
Ghostbusters.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for Carmi's Corner, hun. We'll get into talking about what we thought of the movie, but in the meantime, Nick, if you could.
Well, first,
I
Carmen's
meant,
corner.
yeah.
She's exiting. Gonna switch the headphones. Oh, Mitch zapped himself. What the fuck are we gonna do? This
You'd think
movie's
this is
gonna
our
be
7th
too
episode.
fucking high.
You forgot the chair. It's kind of in the way.
No. Wait, are there chairs? So we saw mattresses. Are there car chairs? And what do they look like? You know?
Okay.
Well, it
hold
was
on.
a-
They mention a leather seat at some point. So do the cars have seats on the inside?
I shall.
Does that make seats an organ?
Y'all are appropriating my segment.
That's
here.
true. I would say,
Okay.
TJ
Let's stick to what we thought about the movie. Nick, what did you think about Cars?
TJ, I'm gonna let you finish, but this is the weakest Pixar film. I
You watched A Bug's Life, didn't you?
Yeah, I guess it's not okay. I guess that's not right. I just said that for dramatic effect, and it kind of worked. But I don't necessarily believe it because it was an enjoyable time. But I mean, like, Mater just fucking sucks, except for a few times where he's absolutely great. The fucking Piston cup joke still gets me. There's a few
what,
jokes.
Nika?
The few jokes that do get me really get me. But everything else, I am eye rolling at. I think the overall story of it all, I think the idea of, you know, this hot shot, you know, car, like, or rather, like, seeing them as a like track star, you know, even
Racer.
yeah, so like seeing that and like seeing like the hothead kind of becoming the, like, seeing, you know, what values they should have, and kind of learning to better their craft is pretty cool. I think it also, the reason that it doesn't do a whole lot for me is it falls in line with more of like a sports movie, which I'm not a huge fan of that genre, so that's just a personal thing to me. But yeah, I thought it's a cute film. It's a really cute film. I just don't think it's anywhere near as touching as any of these other films. Besides, like, maybe obviously Bug's Life more, I would say more than Nemo, but we'll get to the ranking later.
We will. Alex, I didn't get to see your letterboxed ranking for this one, so you don't know what to expect in this moment, but what did you think about Cars?
It's because I just finished watching the movie like half an hour before the podcast. But I'm
So
in
fresh. It's great.
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement with you, Nick. I think I'm even further down. Like, I think that this movie is, I mean, it's completely serviceable, but even like right from the get-go, I was like, this just feels soulless. This already doesn't have the charm of like all of the other Pixar movies, even A Bug's Life. It just felt soulless and very corporate. I was very surprised that you said that this was made before the Disney acquisition, because this feels like a product of that and the like merchandising. Mater, his whole existence is to sell toys. That's why he like, and just everything about him. Go ahead.
So a fun fact is this movie was actually supposed to come out a year earlier. Steve Jobs basically held this movie hostage as a negotiating tactic with Disney. Please continue.
Oh, I mean, just that. Yeah, that is very surprising. Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't really enjoy it, and like it. Again, it's very serviceable, but there wasn't like really anything that hooked me in. There was no like charm to it.
You're telling me that Mater didn't hook you in? You know what I mean?
Nah,
The horniness,
Right.
the entire horniness of this movie didn't hook you in.
Oh God! I mean,
movie
it
is
just
dark.
made me think. I mean, I was like, this must be what TJ feels like, because every 5 minutes I'm like, how does that work? Why can the cars do that? I finally got to understand what it was like to be TJ, and so I guess that's my biggest takeaway from this
All
movie.
right. Speaking of TJ, let's hear it.
All right, so I'm not gonna like I've been a fan of Cars since it came out. Like I loved it when I was a kid. I never like I always say it was like near the top of my personal list, but it was never like I wouldn't say it was top 5. Watching it this time though, I had so much fun, dude. This movie is fan-fucking-tastic. Like you guys say like it felt this corporate. I had so much character. I at a high level, the story is generic. Guy is a loner, learns to like finds friends, learns to love. Like it is a story we have seen before. It's definitely not unique in terms of the high level story compared to other Pixar movies, but the world they build, the characters they introduce, like I love Mater, and I think the fact like his dumb jokes and like yeah he's kind of eye rolly, but I think that's part of the charm, the corniness.
It's literally the cable guy.
The cow. Exactly.
That's just
cow
where the cable
tipping,
guy shtick at that time. Yeah.
Mhm.
The cow tipping and the tractor tipping and like Owen Wilson at first I'm like, oh, that's right, Owen Wilson voice is Lightning McQueen, and then like 5 minutes in I'm like, this is Lightning McQueen, this isn't Owen Wilson. Like I completely fell in love with the character, and honest to God, like it was like Toy Story is a better movie in terms of writing. I think this is the most fun I've had watching a Pixar movie.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to enjoy about this. The little touches to like, you can see their inspiration at times with like, you get scenes of like Lightning McQueen zigging and zagging out of cars, and then he does like this weird hopping thing, which cars can jump for some reason. But then he does the Michael Jordan thing of reaching one tire out with the tongue out, and you can see that inspiration of like what they were trying to draw from in terms of the caricature of modern sports and athletes and personalities in that, and I love that. I agree, like this was a ton of fun. I don't know if it's the best Pixar movie, but it's definitely up there in terms of fun per minute for me at least. That being said,
Now, before we get into the plot, I have a lot of how does this work. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna have a little bit of a chat. We're just gonna rattle through a couple of them. Just keep it down, all right? First and foremost, what the fuck? Second, what do they eat? Is it is gas food or is it their blood?
Well, I think that they have, because they talked about they talked about it being a drink, right? Like I feel like
like Lightning drinks the organic fuel at the end of the movie,
drinks
right?
Organic oil.
Well, no,
So
it's
now
not
he
even
knows
organic oil, but the gas. The gas they literally
Yeah,
refer to
fuel.
it as drink, which we might be thinking about this all differently and all wrong. Where maybe they just don't have quote unquote blood. Like maybe the drink is like their refuel, their circulation, like that. Like especially like with the whole thing we talked about earlier with the seats being the organs, like they don't really work, but they're there, like.
All right. Next, do they grow up? And also building off of this, there are cars of different shapes and sizes. Is it like when you pick a career, do they all come out as like Toyota Corollas, and then they decide like I'm gonna be an RV or I'm gonna be a race car? Like what dictates a car being what kind of car they are?
Well, another thing we do see too is like the modifications, like the body modifications, where we see like
Yep.
the street cars, where
This was the cyberpunk.
Yeah,
This is-
that's
this is a cyberpunk future.
Alex, I think is exactly what I said in our watch session last night. I'm like, these are augmented cars. They are in the far-flung future for cars, in terms of body, modification.
Back to TJ's point about how like the car is being created for specific roles. It's essentially Gattaca, right?
Yeah,
Like it's Gattaca.
I've never watched it.
Gattaca.
it's an interesting.
I only
film.
know it from the league. I only know from Raspy in the league. So
It's a great movie starring Ethan Hawke, where essentially humanity gets to a point where genetic engineering becomes so prevalent that you can, at birth, know what your child's health risks are, what their potential career path might be, and all of these things. And you're put into specific pods based on how you're born. So this is just Gattaca, but they're cars.
I'm not gonna lie. I definitely thought Gothica
What the hell is Gothica?
with fucking Halle Berry.
no idea.
Anyways, continue.
Gattaca.
All right. So this going with the body modifications. So are body modifications piercings and are stickers tattoos?
I feel like the stickers are tattoos. I feel like they're one step further than piercings.
but they
I think
had
it's not quite
tattoos
stickers. It's
though.
more like vinyl. Yeah, it's like vinyl.
That's true.
tattoos.
Yeah, because the
it's like it's
the
permanent.
Porsche,
It's like permanent,
Porsche
semi-permanent.
has the tramp stamp, right?
Yeah, it's like
yeah.
you get the semi-permanent. Like the stickers might just be like one step above, getting it out of like a coin machine. Whereas like the actual tattoos are the paint jobs.
What's interesting about this is before this movie, anytime you saw cars, the headlights were their eyes, right?
Yep.
So were they just like in initial production for this movie and decided they'd be the windshields instead because they knew if they had a character that was a race car, it wouldn't have headlights, and therefore they would have their main character would be blind? Or
That's true.
So-
The other thing that I'm
Sorry.
thinking, like, there's too, and this is more to just talk about the movie. There's just too many times where fucking cars show their taint for no fucking reason.
And they
No
acknowledge
fucking reason.
it, too.
And they acknowledge it. Like, this movie is disgusting.
Well,
In the best way.
This kind of goes into my next point: the anatomy of a car. Because they show off their taint, like even the cop car's getting a checkup, and he's like, "Oh, did you like what you see?" And then the two Lightning McQueen fans flash their headlights, and he's acting like he just got flashed.
Fun fact about that is exactly that. Of the euphemism of flashing your headlights is one that is synonymous with race car driving culture in the U.S. of flashing your breasts at professional racers. So, yeah.
This movie fucking
So
sucks.
it's just like they're acknowledged. So like, so does that mean headlights are like boobs and like your tailpipes your taint? Like,
Well,
there was also in the very first scene. There's the bathroom, and they made the joke that the men's bathroom is shorter than the women's. But it's like, okay, then what's the anatomy of cars? Like, how do they work on the inside?
How do they
that makes
use
that
the
line that
bathroom?
much? Yeah,
Do-
like why is that line so much longer than that line?
is going to the bathroom getting an oil change?
yeah,
Maybe?
literally,
Ooh.
that's the next question. My next question is literally, do they poop?
Yeah.
So,
I think
Wouldn't that be exhaust? Wouldn't their exhaust be the poop?
I
their
guess.
exhaust is polluting the world. Their poop is
Yeah.
polluting the world.
I mean, isn't our
I mean,
poop?
so was ours.
Is
say-
global
I mean,
warming
our
caused
poop-
by car poop?
Our poop is biodegradable, I want that. That is the Twitter feed. Is poop causing global warming? More at 11.
Listen, man, these are the hard-hitting questions that you get from How Does This Work?
We go over to TJ, who's on the scene. TJ, is poop causing global warming?
Is car poop causing?
Thank you,
global
TJ.
warming?
All right, so I've got
My wife thinks I'm a
so-
lunatic. I'm laughing at nothing.
So one we kind of already touched on, so I'm only just gonna say it for the fact it's there. Asking if there is a car president, was there a car World War II? Like, what is the global situation here?
We get to more of that in Cars 2. I think we'll have more of that.
I don't want to talk about Cars
Oh
too.
man.
Yeah. And then so trains and planes and helicopters are all cars, like real.
I thought you were gonna.
Because
I thought you.
I mean,
I
this
just-
movie got a spin-off series called Planes
Planes.
from not from Walt Disney or not from Pixar, but it came from Walt Disney's Disney Toon Studios, I think. Who
Is
do a bunch of,
that
like, spin-off stuff.
actually? So I worked
The
at Toys.
Plane series is in the Cars universe. Yes.
Okay, so I worked at Toys R Us when Planes came out on DVD and Blu-ray, and man, that was like people were like, "Where's Planes? I need Planes. What's up?" And then I heard nothing about it afterwards. Like there was,
Yeah, it is
like the
is in
day it
same world
released.
and comes from Disney Toon Studios, who I'll pull up some of the other films they did. But please continue.
The day it released,
so-
like so many people just were raiding the Toys R Us. I'm like, this is Planes. Like what?
So Disney Toon Studios is behind a lot of like the direct-to-video sequels we got in the '90s and stuff. So Return of Jafar, King of Thieves, a Goofy movie, Belle's Magical World, Beauty and the Beast, The Enchanted Christmas, Pocahontas 2, The Lion King 2.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Extremely Goofy movie, Tigger movie.
That was good.
Lots of like
That one's
direct sequels, and then Atlantis: Milo's Return, Tarzan 2,
I never saw it.
I
Never
know
saw
there
it.
was a Tarzan too.
and the last. So they work. Yeah. So basically they worked on like Disney core properties until like 2008, and then all they really produced were Tinkerbell movies and the Planes movies, and then they shut down in 2015.
Makes sense.
Okay.
So,
But so going to that, like we saw there were bugs, like the VW bugs, but we see no other animals in this movie.
What about the
Are
tractor?
there
Because
animals? Well, sorry, the tractor's in the bull, but also they reference at one point a rabbit.
but and maybe this is political. I don't like to be getting political on this, but you know, TJ,
please don't.
maybe global warming caused by poop. You know,
Car poop killed the animals.
The
Poop
only
killed the
reason
animals.
the cars survived is because they killed off all the other creatures on the planet.
poop killed the animals.
Wait, but hold on. So if car sustenance is fuel or gasoline, how are the cars capable of building and maintaining machines to mine the gasoline and or mine the oil and refine it into gasoline? And do those machines have sentience as well? Because like when Bessie, the paving machine, every time Bessie plops tar on or asphalt onto any of these cars, it almost sounds like Bessie's laughing. So like, does Bessie have some basic form of sentience? In which case, do all machines in this world seem to have some sort of sentience? I'm so confused.
How are you not laughing at poop killed the animals?
I needed to maintain composure because I didn't the first time. I completely broke the first time.
I only have got two of you motherfuckers.
Poopy killed animals.
Killed the animals.
All right, so my last one, we went over the World War II. Or sorry, my last two. So one, how did the mountains get carved to look like cars?
I mean,
Global warming.
global warming caused by.
Car poop. It caused
It's all. That's the
Car poop's
conspiracy.
the answer to all of it.
That's the real conspiracy
Alright.
here.
All right, my last one, and this one probably bugged me the most of it. When you go, I know we're jumping ahead here, but when you go into Doc's garage, there are binders on the wall. What the fuck do these motherfuckers read books and shit? Like,
I mean, you saw like the shit where they like he used his hands.
They use their tires as hands.
Yeah.
but I don't know. That one just, I could not wrap my head around it at the time. But,
Neither can they. Neither
That's
can
it.
they.
Oh, no, sorry, I lied. One more. And this one comes from a friend of Press YYZ.
Oh yes.
So, Bryn Var had said this during
Oh.
our
Are you sure?
watch along.
Is that the Rob one?
No, that's a
Okay,
different one.
okay.
So Bryn Var asked.
Rob one is in my notes, just FYI.
Bryn Var asked, when a tire falls off, does that mean they're being dismembered? So like, are they losing if they use their front tires as hands? Does that mean if they pop a tire, their tire falls off? Are they getting their hand cut off?
I think it's more of like the rims are like the actual like body parts, whereas like the
Rubber's
the
the
rubber is like the glove and like the shoes. That's how I see it.
All right, we've teased it to a point. We have to get into the crux of Rob's psyche. In the middle of us watching this, without provocation, the following was said. Why do bananas only come out on Thursday? Alex, care to answer?
Wait, what?
Does banana come
Yeah.
out on Thursday?
Why do bananas only come out on Thursday?
You know?
And do you want to know the answer to that?
I would love to know.
Car poop.
Car poop, global polluting the atmosphere. Thank you.
Let's get into the plot. So we open on this weird voiceover montage where Owen Wilson wants to go fast, so he's either on speed or some other equivalent.
Do you think that there are car like performance enhancing drugs?
Yes.
And
Oh,
what
they
would that be?
reference it.
Premium.
nitrous?
They reference it.
Well, even like premium
Either way,
fueling. Anyways,
We
go on.
open on the race scene and just the sheer volume of everything that had to be animated for this race, from all the individual cars in the stands to everything else going on. This movie is absolutely gorgeous. Like, it's ridiculous what they were able to do here. And just a fun fact, in terms of like computer hours taken to render this movie, even though the number of the computers that they had on this were 4 times faster than the ones used on Incredibles and 1,000 times faster than the ones they used for Toy Story, each frame of the movie took an average of 17 processor hours to render.
I believe it.
An individual frame. Crazy.
I gotta say, just before you continue, in terms of looks, I know I mentioned this last week in The Incredibles, that I felt like Incredibles was a bit of a step down. This movie, I know, again, I say it every fucking week, but wow, this movie's beautiful. Best Pixar has done.
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
100% I'll agree with that, because like even just like later on in the movie where we see Chick get the sea and like seeing the reflection of that was just breathtaking.
So this is actually, like, we've seen reflections and things done well in Pixar films before. This is the first time that they actually leveraged like honest to goodness ray tracing in terms of managing the reflections off the characters.
Yeah.
Rather than just like simulated. This is like they went balls to the wall on it. Something fun here that I noticed is in the scene, like you see them, we're seeing the racetrack, everything's going on. The cars do the wave, but they do so by flashing their headlights. So again, back to our earlier discussion, is the entire stadium flashing the racers, the cameras, everything.
Okay, I have another question that again might get a little bit political in here, you know. Are boobs from cars causing light pollution? Okay, thank you.
Ooh.
Thank you.
So the race we see is down to really, it's a 3-car race at this point between Lightning McQueen, Chick Hicks, and the King. And towards the end of the race, we get literal attempted murder on the track where all the cars start bumping into each other. It's murder. Like, they're trying to kill each other at this point.
Yeah,
and Lightning's able to avoid the...
just there are a bunch of cars that are definitely, like, they were destroyed beyond repair. during that crash.
Also earlier I said boobs. I meant nipples. Thank you.
Thank you
Glad
for
you
the
clarified.
clarification. That's what we needed.
I wanted to clarify.
So either way, the caution flag comes out. Lightning McQueen chooses not to pit and forgoes tires because he doesn't have a crew chief. He's doing it all himself and doesn't care what anyone else tells him. He's one of the most selfish characters we've seen in all of Pixar animation. And as we get closer to the end of the race, that decision bites him in the ass because he blows 2 tires and has to grind on those rims to try to get across the finish line. And it turns out Chick Hicks and the King both catch up, and by the skin of his tongue, we have a 3-way tie for the Piston Cup.
He did what in his cup? Every time I just think about that.
The Piston Cup officials decide to have a tiebreaker race between the 3 cars in California in a week's time to determine the true champion. Something fun here, again, playing into Lightning McQueen being the selfish asshole, is he basically gets his whole crew to quit on him, his whole pit crew, because he just tries to take all the credit and doesn't know how to share, which is basically his entire character until the last 10 minutes of the movie.
Which this whole opening sequence, by the way, especially at the start when like the music was playing and like the race was going on, gave me chills. It was just such a great opening.
So I grew up watching a lot of NASCAR. My dad's really into stock car racing, so it was something that was just around us every week. So all the little nods, like Darrell Waltrip being there voicing a character, and Dale Jr. pops up, like all these little nods to NASCAR culture was nice. I know the stigma around NASCAR, and that notwithstanding, just the nostalgia I could feel from some of those things was nice.
Don't forget Humpy, or whatever his name was.
Don't forget Humpy. I also want that. I want that in the Twitter feed. I just want to put it out there. Don't forget Humpy.
No, was it Humpy Wheeler?
Humpy Wheeler.
Yeah, Humpy Wheeler. Yeah.
We get a fun exchange between Chick and Lightning that I know TJ hated because he calls him Thunder. And why does he call him Thunder? Because Thunder comes after Lightning.
I loved it. Nick hated it.
Oh, it was Nick who didn't like it.
No,
Yeah.
I hate kachow. It's so dumb. The reason it's like Nickelback, a decent band, fine, but it's not the one we should be memeing. The one we should be memeing is Imagine Dragons. Imagine Dragons is the Cars of the music universe.
So it's also terrible.
Exactly.
Okay, I see. Okay.
Exactly.
Lightning has to make his pre-arranged appearance at the Rusty's tent, and he seems to hate his sponsor because it surrounds him with rusted out old cars, and he doesn't like that because they're dirty, I guess. Is there some connotation around either dirty or leprosy? And he's a selfish prick. He's a dick through the entirety of this movie.
He fucking sucks.
He's the worst. But we get a fun exchange between him and the Rusty's brothers. One of them makes a pot joke, and I forget what the joke was, but it was really funny.
Lit. My brother's lit. That's what it was.
Oh, hey, my brother's lit. Yeah, so that's good stuff.
Which the Rusty's we talked about, right? It's hemorrhoid cream.
Oh, it is hemorrhoid cream, 100%.
He's 100%.
That was
has hemorrhoid tattoo, like hemorrhoid.
So wait, when the one car's bumper falls off from the rust, is that him losing his testes or what?
I think that's his jaw.
I mean, no, he's talking about the back. I think it's his
why
ass.
Is he putting hemorrhoid cream on his? Like, if we're saying it's not hemorrhoid cream, it's all over cream because he'd be putting that stuff on his face.
Wait, you don't put?
No, you don't. Either way, we get Lightning in his Mack truck. He kind of bosses him around, and we get into a wonderful cross-country montage along to "Life is a Highway," which is not as good as the original Tom Cochrane version.
You're so wrong. This is the
I'm
best
not.
version of that song.
A guitar solo does not compare to a harmonica solo.
Rascal Flatts, not that
Every
great.
song's got a goddamn guitar solo. You know what most songs don't have? A fucking harmonica solo.
That's
Tom
because
Cochrane,
everybody who
better than
does-
Rascal Flatts.
That's because anybody who has a harmonica solo is a loser, and nobody wants to listen
How
to them
dare you,
or be a
sir?
fan with them.
How dare you,
How
sir?
dare you?
You
I
have
will-
a mandolin or whatever the hell
It's
As
called.
someone
First
who owns a
off-
harmonica,
First off,
fuck you.
it's a kalimba. And I'll have you know it is a fucking kalimba. Second off, me and all of my cousins who used to go to the fucking arcade and we'd win stuff, and we fucking get that harmonica every time, and we never knew how to play it. But you know what? It was there.
All right, well, speaking of the kalimba, during this montage, when it ends, we meet some real Tokyo Drift motherfuckers who decide that they're going to mess with Mater and try to drive him off the road.
Mac.
Mater, Mac, whatever.
Thank you.
I did that for you. I hope you know that.
Yep. Redeem the kalimba.
Either way, they start messing with Mac. Somehow, a little trinket falls on a button that opens the entire back of the truck, which that thing does
Doesn't
not
make
weigh
any
enough to
sense.
engage that button. But Lightning falls out of the truck and onto the highway, and as we already know, has no headlights. So a car on the highway, middle of night, no headlights. He should have died.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
100% should have died. Also, interstates in this world. So cars are the people. So are they just running cross country to get
Essentially.
everywhere?
Yep.
They're fit.
That sucks.
They're fit.
I mean,
Yeah.
Mac don't look fit. Mac is thick.
Yeah. Mac got that dumper.
He
Mac,
got that big old
I mean,
dumper.
literally, he dumped a man out.
Yeah.
Like,
Mac should be a dump truck. You know what I mean?
Does that mean Lightning McQueen is car poop?
Lightning McQueen was car poop in the
mean-
scene. Either way,
I mean, yeah, for
He
most
ends
of this movie. Anyways.
he ends up lost away from the interstate and ends up by happenstance in the town of Radiator Springs, where he gets scared of everything and finds a way to destroy the entirety of Radiator Springs.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, where
speaking
he,
of Radiator,
like,
okay,
I was gonna say he grabs a statue, drags it on the street, completely destroys it. He absolutely biffs it the most eloquent way possible.
he 100% does. But speaking of Radiator Springs, I think this is a good time to segue into one of our segments. Pixar guys talk theme park rides.
Pixar guys, we're Pixar guys. We're gonna talk about the theme park rides. There's Mitch.
That's me.
Mm-hmm.
So welcome to Pixar Guys Talk Theme Park Rides. On today's edition of the segment, we're talking about Cars Land,
Crazy.
which I've never seen
I
in
know,
person
man.
and really, really want to. Cars Land is a themed area in Disney's California Adventure Park, inspired by Cars and Route 66 and Americana culture. It is a 12-acre addition to the park, built as part of a $1.1 billion expansion that opened in June of 2012. Contains 3 rides as well as a number of shops and restaurants, all situated in a replica of Radiator Springs. The area's main attraction is Radiator Springs Racer, a racing ride that uses the technology from Epcot's test track. The other 2 rides being Mater's Junkyard Jamboree and Luigi's Rollickin' Roadsters.
I'm not gonna lie, I remember seeing them talk about this in the Disney Plus series, The Imagineering Story. Fantastic. Again, go watch. I think we've talked about it before.
Watch it.
But I would love to see it. But I gotta think, and I know this is technically foreshadowing it a little bit, but Cars, as much as I love this movie, it doesn't have the best sequels. So I wonder if Disney maybe regrets a little bit spending $1.1 billion expanding on a franchise that didn't land as well with the second and third one.
So something to note here is they were already developing an Americana themed addition to California Adventure when this kind of happened, where Disney was working on this. They didn't know that Pixar was working on a Cars movie, so they ended up just melding the 2 ideas together, especially after the acquisition by Disney of Pixar. And I mean, say what you will about the sequels, Cars merchandise sells, dude.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It does.
because
all
the
money
first
maker.
movie is so good.
Well, the other thing to note is, I think next year, God, I got to Google this. But essentially there was an area adjacent to this that was themed after A Bug's Life. And that closed a couple of years ago, because right next to where Cars Land is in Disney's California Adventure, they are adding the Avengers, what the hell they call it? Avengers Campus. So say what you will about Cars, but you have a Cars Land attraction right next to a bunch of Avengers stuff. Like, you're going to get people in your parks, regardless of how much you spent on that stuff. So, I mean, as long as they reopen. But I know they've been talking about reopening. Yeah, I haven't been. I want to go. Test Track is really fun in Epcot. It looks like they've done it even better in Cars Land. So, yeah.
100%.
Nice.
Plot to plot.
We got to start planning these Disney trips. Hosting this podcast is making me antsy to go back.
It's making me
Talk to
antsy
COVID first.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I will go talk
to
directly
Mr.
to a
COVID.
virus and tell it to stop.
Thank you. If Osmosis
I mean-
Jones can do it, why can't you?
I mean, we're all East Coast babies. We're going to Orlando before we're going to California anyway.
100%.
It's true.
100%. All right. At this point, we get a bit of an introduction to the only good character that Larry the Cable Guy has ever produced, and that is Mater.
Hey, wait, let's not forget the Robitussin, or whatever the fuck he advertises.
Or his seminal
Tooth
role
Fairy
in Tooth
2?
Fairy 2.
No, Prodosec OTC. That's what it is. Prodosec. It'll give you heartburn.
Either way, we're introduced to Mater because it looks like Lightning McQueen has been booted and is stuck in the impound. And he is due in traffic court, overseen by one Doc Hudson. Why are you laughing?
Traffic court.
New
New on Sundays this fall. Only on Fox.
As soon as Doc realizes that Lightning's a race car, he wants him out of town. He wants nothing to do with him. He's got some sort of pre-existing stigma against race cars. But Sally enters the courtroom or drive-through. I don't know what you want to call it, arguing that he really needs to, he needs to be brought to justice because of all the damage he caused. So Lightning is forced into repairing the road that he damaged, because as we start to find out, this town has been bypassed because of the interstate. No longer have anyone come through town. It used to be really integral to the cross-country road trip, and now it's a ghost town. But we start to get introduced to all these little characters. Like, we're introduced to Luigi and Guido. We're introduced to Ramon and Flo, and all these characters. Fun fact about Luigi: his license plate reads 445108. Do you guys know what this might be? Latitude and longitude.
Oh.
Is the location of the main Ferrari factory in Modena, Italy.
I know the one for Fillmore's license plate, the significance.
Yeah, I mean, we can get into that too. Fillmore, voiced by George Carlin, his license plate reads, I have it here somewhere.
I think it's 517
51237.
Yep.
Which is George Carlin's birthday, so May 12th, 1937. Coincidental, because I mean that's directly referencing his birthday, but 15237 is a zip code in the town of George, Iowa.
And just a shout out to Rob again from First YYZ community, who mentioned that George Carlin bit last night while we were watching.
Yep.
Which George Carlin bit?
The license plate.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I also pulled it up on IMDb just so I got the facts right. But yes, thank you, Rob, for that. Fun fact.
Thanks,
Okay.
Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
As Lightning is hooked up to Bessie and trying to repair this road, by some miracle, they've got customers. So everyone starts to panic because no one knows how to socialize in this town anymore. And they freak the hell out of what do I call them? Van and Minnie. I forget the name.
Van and
Richard Kind and Edie McClurg. Edie McClurg, best known as the receptionist for the principal in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
They think he's a righteous dude.
Yes, Van and Minnie. And Lightning tries to coerce, like he tries to whisper them, like, "Hey, I'm this really famous race car. You gotta help me out." Blah blah. And they lock their doors. And
I
drive
did
away.
laugh.
That was so funny. That was so funny.
Which I had questions there, but I let it go.
No, go for it. Go.
Well, no, I mean, like, just while I was watching, I'm like, okay, they can lock themselves. Does that mean the door's open? Like,
It's also
like,
true.
What? It just opens up so many questions. It's like it's going into a rabbit hole. So let's for another day. Cars 2. I need stuff for Cars 2, so we'll talk about it later.
You do need stuff for cars too.
Something interesting that I actually looked into, because we talked about this during the episode, or while we were doing the watch party in the Press YYZ Discord, invite.gg/Press YYZ. The sheriff's car we thought was spiked, but it's actually fitted with curb detectors.
Oh.
So the sheriff's car is an older car. It's like a 40s, 50s car. Curb detectors were popular in the 40s and 50s. That would make a scraping sound as you were parking the correct distance from the curb. So it was basically used to measure how far you were from the curb. They lost their popularity in the 60s as they were very lame, quote unquote. And Curb Feelers is actually the name of a shop in the flashback sequence for Radiator Springs.
Oh wow,
Nice.
I didn't know that. That's interesting. I thought they were just kneecappers.
Yeah, they're 100% not kneecappers. So Lightning comes to the realization that as soon as he finishes the road, he can leave. So he selfishly drags Bessie as quickly as he can to the end of the road and does a piss poor job of laying this asphalt. And you get Mater, who's like, "Oh, I'm the first one on the new road," and he's just twitchy the whole way down.
Bumping,
It's
yeah.
Bumpy.
and he makes it worse. So Doc tells him he has to redo it, and he gets all pissy and moany because he's like a prepubescent child. And basically, Doc's like, "Yo, bro, 1v1 me and you can leave." And he does, and it doesn't go well because, again, Tokyo Drift style, he needs to go left, and he tries to go left, and he can't go left.
Go left to go right. Oh, okay. That's my Owen Wilson.
Also, so we get this race where he can't make the turn on dirt, because he's never driven on dirt because he's a race car. He's only ever driven on asphalt. He falls into a pit of cacti. Can a cacti spine pierce a car? Like, would that actually hurt the car? Because we've seen worse.
So-
Like, we've seen limb dismemberment. We've seen undercarriages rusted out and falling off.
Yeah.
But cactuses is where we're going to get upset about falling into. Like, it feels like it's a joke that makes sense for flesh, not so much for car bodies.
I think
Well-
the underneath would be the spine, right? Like the axle, I would say would be the
Yeah.
spine of the car.
Yeah, I would say, and I think honestly, because he says "ow," I think it also is like, yes, it's the cactus, but also I think it's the fall too. Like he did fall off of a sizable cliff.
We do see later that he gets pulled out of the cacti, and he's got them like attached to him. It's like, what the hell kind of cactuses have evolved in this, a postmodern world of sentient cars that can pierce car bodies?
They're Kevlar cactuses.
Oh yeah.
Kevlar cacti. Okay. So Lightning gets pulled out of the Kevlar cacti and basically is reserved to the fact that he has to finish this road. But as Mater's watching him one night, he decides to bond with Lightning over some good old-fashioned cow tipping.
Which
Okay,
is
you know what? I'm sorry.
Go.
I know I said how did this work at the start, but this is something that actually, like, we had to check last night while we were watching. The tractors and the cows, they've got nipples. Do they milk these tractors?
I've got nipples. Can they milk me, Fokker?
Would you come on over?
It's only one way to find
the
out.
border's closed.
I say there's one
Let me
way to
tell
find,
ya.
like, what?
Yeah, like what comes out, like, in a serious note, what comes out if you like milk the tractor, you know?
Nothing good.
Pee pee.
Nothing good. You done yet?
Just the way he said pee pee.
Pee pee. Pee pee caused global warming.
It has never been more obvious to me that I am the oldest person on this podcast. Until right now.
Bro, last night
Shut up! You fucking laughed as global warming was caused by poop, okay? Like,
Get it
fuck
right.
you!
Car poop causes global warming. Yeah, that was
so-
unexpected. The cow tipping thing or the tractor tipping we talked about last night.
Last night, Mitch, you should have known. I laughed so hysterically at this scene whenever they made a fart noise.
Yeah, he did. Every
The
single one.
tractor's tipped. The tractor's tipped, and then they fart. Either way, there's this whole back and forth, and they flip some tractors, and then the bull, but it's like I don't know.
It's
what
a
he
harvester,
said.
a crop harvest, yeah.
Again, I grew up in the city, so
We got you.
It
We
was a
got
big
you.
thing that does the
Andreas
grainy
Mitch
stuff.
shows.
I did not. Either way, they run away from that thing. They have a fun time of it. They're coming back to town, talking about Miss Sally. Got Mater coming to the realization, which he should have earlier, that Lightning's in love with Miss Sally, and also teaches him that backwards driving is a thing as long as you got rear view mirrors, which will come up in a bit.
Also, he's in love, like, after, like, 2 days. Like, come on, dude.
Well, yeah, like he's still like it's still that character flaw. Like he's still a very selfish character.
Yeah.
And he's selfishly becoming attached to these people for his own to meet his own, filthy means to an end.
Yeah.
And knows he's not going to be here permanently because he is so driven to win and needs to. We'll talk about that.
Also, he says he doesn't say he loves her. Mater's just like teasing him, saying
Implies
like
that.
you love Sally.
That's true.
KISS something something T, to quote him exactly.
That's true. That's true.
Either way, we see Lightning continue to do his work, forming these connections with everyone in town. Sally offers him a place to stay at the Cozy Cone. But Lightning's getting a little nosy. He starts poking around into other people's business and discovers the true identity of Doc Hudson as the Hudson Hornet, a famous race car who tragically had his career end very early because of an accident that he was unable to return from. We see this come back as well later in the movie, and we'll talk a little bit more about Richard Petty, the voice of the king, when we get to that. So he's got lots of questions. Lightning tries to convince the entirety of the town that this is actually a famous race car driver because he got 3 piston cups, which Mater responds to with,
He did what in his cup? I don't care who you are. That's funny. Oh, hill.
why did your Mater just turn into Goofy?
Oh, hill. I'm gonna hook you up.
Isn't Larry the Cable Guy just Goofy?
I mean, basically, you know.
Either way, Sally offers to take Lightning for a drive, and is that just euphemism for fucking?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everything is in
Every-
this movie.
Everything
yeah, this
is.
movie, yeah, 100%.
This movie fucks, and not in the good way.
Right. Either way, we've got this beautiful scene of... Fuck off, TJ. We've got this beautiful scene of them driving through, Radiator Springs. You've got the water. You've got, everything about this scene is just fucking gorgeous.
Ha, 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 This much is true. Anyways, we're gonna get DMCA'd. We're all too good.
We're that good.
Mhm.
Speaking of DMCA, in the film, the production wanted to use a little-known version of the song Route 66 by Chuck Berry, which was a B-side on one of his singles. They approached the record company that has Chuck Berry's library. They had no idea what they were talking about. The production team, there was no version of the song that existed. They spent the time and looked through their vaults of all the old records. Turns out that Pixar was right, and the record company that owns the masters to Chuck Berry's library did not know he recorded a version of the song Route 66.
Wow.
Wow.
That's
That's
awesome.
wild.
Okay.
Wow.
Where was I? All right, we get this fun back and forth. We see, okay, so the speed at which Lightning is driving is fast enough to crush the bodies of the bugs, but the bugs are also cars. How fast was he going that he could crush metal with his teeth?
How weak is that metal? Is that like some discount dollar store metal?
I mean, they are Volkswagen Beetles, so
Yeah.
we know
Now, is that a knock
Volkswagen
at
is
German engineering, or
well. We know that Volkswagen is keen to cut corners in some
And
circumstances.
you know what Volkswagen stands for, right? Fix it. Fix it again, Tony.
Either way, here's where we get the flashback to what the town used to be. In its heyday, without the interstate, everyone had to come through town. It was very homey, very, it was those little towns you drive through as a kid. It's very nostalgic to, road trips with the family. What's so funny?
sorry, you said homie. I just oh me.
Oh, me.
The Simpsons come up. Jesus Christ, dude. Well, either way, we find out that the interstate basically ruined this town because everyone just bypasses it to save 10 minutes on their commute. Here is where we get the realization that Doc Hudson really is a race car driver or a race car because, Lightning couldn't make that drift. But now we get Disney Pixar Tokyo Drift where Doc Hudson just right through that corner, turns right, goes left. It's magic. They wake up the following morning and the road is done. Lightning's nowhere to be found, and everyone thinks he skipped town. Turns out he didn't. Might have actually developed a conscience after all. And he, go ahead, please.
I mean, he's just driven to win. That's it.
That's my joke, motherfucker.
No. Like that's not even a joke. Like it's just like motherfucker just wants to win. Like he still fucking sucks.
He does, but he also what's the word I'm looking for? He
Redeemable?
Fuck, I had huh?
Redeemable? Maybe.
Not redeemable, but he oh, fuck, God damn it. It's one of those times where the
He has-
words on the tip of your tongue.
He
you
has
can't
some
remember what it is.
interesting qualities throughout the film.
No, he basically lets the town he goes through and placates all of the store owners and goes to every shop and gets new stuff. They
Yeah.
let him do a full glow up on
Yeah.
on Lightning.
That was yeah.
Get
Oh, just
what's
it
the
was
word
a very.
I'm looking for? I'm really frustrated now.
Well,
Yeah,
you're
it doesn't
thinking.
matter. Go ahead, Alex.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Alex.
Oh, just it was a very sweet moment, and it was kind of one of the only moments in the whole movie where I actually felt any emotion other than I am bored watching this. It was nice, especially Luigi.
I was gonna say my favorite part of this is when he gets the white wall tires from Luigi and Guido. The brand of tire is fettuccine Alfredo, and Alfredo, well known as a white pasta sauce.
Oh yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that, but that makes me appreciate it just a little bit more.
On the topic of tires, all of the race car tires we see, like we're on the tracks.
Oh yeah,
the brand, a play on Goodyear tire, Lightyear.
Lightyear.
I thought that was just a reference to Toy Story.
I think
Well, it is a
Like, I
reference
didn't
to
even-
Toy Story.
I mean, I
Also
just
play
didn't
on
even.
video,
Yeah, I didn't even make the connection there.
Also, I'm going a little tiny tangent here.
Mm-hmm.
We've made this joke a couple times now about Tokyo Drift. I just checked. Cars came out a full week before Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. I hereby decree that this is now referred to as Radiator Springs Tokyo Drift, and the other movie is now called Cars 3.
We're taking over, motherfuckers.
Man. Either way, we get this glow up, and somehow by someone has ratted on Lightning that he's here, told the media. The media all shows up, swarms him. He's found. The lost car has been, like, he can make the race, all this stuff. And turns out it was Doc Hudson just trying to get, or was it Doc Hudson? I'm trying to remember.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. He was just trying to kind of get rid of him, even though this didn't make sense to me. He tried to get rid of him, but then still shows up to the race to be his crew chief.
Because the town makes him, like, Sally and that makes him realize, like, as much as he doesn't like him being around, like, he has as much to learn as Lightning McQueen did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was when Mater was like, I didn't even get to say goodbye.
Yeah.
Was kind of like the point where it like changed his conscience.
Yeah, this is
The
the point where
car-
Rob, for whatever reason, mentioned bananas only coming out on Thursday,
Mm-hmm.
and we're back at the Piston Cup. Fun fact here, for the Piston Cup Championship race, the showdown race, the scenes showing the crowd featured up to 105,000 separately animated cars, with 13,000 cars being shown entering the stadium in a single shot.
Wow.
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 Also, around here, he says it's just an empty cup, the Piston Cup, but it's piston, so I mean, like, it's not empty.
It's only, you have to empty it at some point.
I mean, it keeps getting piston, you know?
Now, I don't know if this was here or in the earlier scene, like the first race, but the Pizza Planet truck actually does make an appearance in this
Oh, it
film.
does? Oh.
You see it in a crowd scene where there's, like, they're going through the crowd and they're showing all these different cars, like the RV and all that, and there's a car that looks like Elvis, and next to this car is the Pizza Planet truck.
Oh.
And I missed it earlier, but to go back to a Pixar staple Easter egg, A113, the animation room at the California Institute of the Arts, where most Pixar animators, the original animation crew, went to school, shows up as the number of the train that Lightning outruns when he's lost earlier in the film.
Which also, that train wanted to kill him and then was scared at the next scene.
Yeah.
It went from, okay, let's speed up, and then it's like, oh my god!
Also, not only does A113 appear on the train, it's also Mater's license plate,
Oh. Makes sense.
which I did not notice until I just read it in my notes right now. So,
Yep.
either way, we get back to the race. The showdown between Chick, the King, and Lightning commences, and it turns out that the entire town came out to cheer on Lightning and to be his pit crew. He's got a single tire changer in Guido. He's got a crew chief in, it was going to be Mac, and Doc Hudson takes over. And everyone else is kind of just standing there. Mac, I think, becomes his gas guy, but everyone else is just kind of there, not doing anything.
They're there for moral support.
Well, the funny thing is when Doc Hudson comes over the mic, it's like, well, Mater never got to say goodbye, and all you hear in the back, or you get Mater coming to see goodbye, even though they just got back, and it's great, and I love it.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
good.
Goodbye. All right, we can go now.
Yeah.
Basically, we see Lightning use some of the tricks that he picked up in Radiator Springs. He drives backwards. He's able to drift his way along the infield of the racetrack when he gets spun out. Lots of little fun nods to him actually having learned and grown, despite not learning or growing much at all through the course of the film. Chick Hicks then attempts murder, where he tries to
A second
legitimately murder the king for the second time. Yes, Chick Hicks, serial murderer. Lightning McQueen is inches away from winning the Piston Cup, and instead of doing so, learns from his experience that he has to respect those around him and treat people the way you want to be treated, and sees the king in a very similar situation to Doc Hudson when he was forced to retire. Fun fact here, Richard Petty, who voices the king, was his last race. He wrecked and was forced to retire in a very similar fashion to both Doc Hudson and the king. Lightning McQueen then pushes him across the finish line because the king has to finish his last race. No one cares that Chick Hicks won the Piston Cup because it's Piston. Everyone cares about the situation with the king and with Lightning. Shows him to be a better car overall. He gets offered the Dynaco sponsorship, all the things he's ever wanted just by being a better person. Decides to stick to what got him there, stay loyal to his current sponsor, and everyone's happy. And then the movie ended, I think, and Mater finally got the helicopter ride that he's always wanted. That is the plot of Cars.
Man,
We did it.
a plot it was.
Yeah, all those things definitely happened.
Yeah. We gonna get into gaming with the Pixar guys, or do we want to just skip that for this week?
I could talk about
I
it a
didn't
little
play
bit.
All right, Nick is the only one to have played the original Cars video game that released with this film. So, Nick, what'd you think of Cars?
All right, I'm
Came out
gonna
all the way
give
back in
a
2006.
I'm gonna give a little synopsis. So it was like pretty faithful to the actual movie. They had the turn right to turn left. There was a section, as Rob pointed out in the Discord last night, there was a section where you did backwards driving. I think like the biggest takeaway from the game is the soundtrack. Killer soundtrack. You got Edgar Winter on there. You got all these like classic artists of the time, more than just what was shown in the movie. So yeah, that was it's a pretty decent game. Not one I'd put up there with the likes of like Toy Story 2 or The Incredibles, but it's still a decent one in its own right. It's surprising, like even going back, I was saying in this movie where I'm like, it's amazing how many Pixar games I actually played as a kid, just by happenstance. Yeah. But yeah, this one was a library rental, which was bougie as hell because there was only one library that actually rented out video games. So I was like, all right, well, what do I have to lose? So yeah, it was a decent time.
All right. And with that, I think we can move on to probably one of the most controversial segments of this episode, and that's going to be ranking the Randys, because I didn't mention this earlier. The music for this film was composed by Randy Newman.
Ooh.
But
Whoa.
the memorable aspects of this film are not the score, but the original licensed music.
Okay.
So, I, for one, think that bumps it down on the list. But do we want to rank Randy Newman, or are we ranking Rascal Flatts? Life of the
Rascal
Highway?
Flats.
I don't even remember any of the other music. So
Yeah, I feel like we rank it as a whole because that's kind of what we did because with all the rest of them. But I think that
No, there are some that are individual songs. I would vote for just the individual songs. The score here is not what's memorable.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would vote for
For
just
Frank.
the song.
fair enough.
Okay.
But anyways,
As
hold
was-
on. We also over here we're not too far off from Randy, and let me tell you, we got our own song here. So let me get into it real quick. Ranking the Randys. I'm Randy.
All right. As the list stands for Rank the Randys, you've got at number 8, Strange Things. At number 7, Thomas Newman's score in Finding Nemo. Number 6, you have Randy's score in A Bug's Life. Number 5, you have Sailing. Number 4, you have Michael Giacchino's incredible score from The Incredibles. At number 3, you have When Someone Loves Me. At number 2, If I Didn't Have You. And at number 1, the seminal You've Got a Friend in Me. I want to start with this at number 6 and vote up from there. Is that cool? I think it's better than the Bug's Life score, and we can start
Yeah.
it there.
yeah.
Okay. So by show of hands, who thinks that Rascal Flatts' Life is a Highway is better than Sailing? Everyone's hands go up. Leave them up. Who thinks this is better than Michael Giacchino's score from The Incredibles? And that's where it'll live. TJ's the only one to leave his hand up. So the list as it stands. At number 8, you have Strange Things. Number 7, Thomas Newman's score in Finding Nemo. Number 6, Bug's Life score. At number 5, you have Sailing. Sorry, I missed all those up because I didn't put the new number in yet. So, Strange Things, Thomas Newman, Randy, Bug's Life, Sailing. At number 5 now, we have Life is a Highway. At number 4 is Michael Giacchino's incredible score. Number 3, When Someone Loves Me. At number 2, If I Didn't Have You. At number 1, You've Got a Friend in Me.
What's it like
And
to be
it's
so wrong, TJ? In all
We'll
of your
fucking
opinions.
see, okay? We'll fucking see.
It feels really good because I'm Randy Newman.
All right, it's time to get into our short film. We mentioned it earlier. Old Man Band is the Pixar short.
One-
that
one man
accompanied this.
band.
One man
One man.
band.
Gotcha.
Dude, I'm tired. It's been
Okay.
a week.
I get you.
Yeah.
This is the first podcast I've done this week, and it's been a week.
So
What is it? Old Man Band,
One man band.
right?
What?
Old Man Band.
Old man
what?
band. Got it.
I wrote Old Man Band. I want to call it Old
It's
Man
the
Band.
new. It's the new title, TJ.
All right,
just
One
wanna let you
Man
know.
Band.
No. It's Old Man Band now.
Short film which features 2 musicians competing for the coinage of a young person, and they go back and forth and they do music things. So as it stands, our list of Pixar shorts, once I get it open, because I'm filling air until I get it open. At number 6, we have Tin Toy. Number 5, we have For the Birds. At number 4, we have Knick Knack. At number 3, we have Boundin'. At number 2, Luxo Jr. And at number 1, we have Jerry's Game. I almost
I'm-
went for ranking this from the bottom.
I
Yeah.
vote we rank this from above For the Birds and we keep it there.
Okay, well,
This-
I'm all in
this was
favor
more-
for that.
I'm okay with that.
This is more entertaining than For the Birds because honestly, I can't even tell you fuck all about For the Birds except for the punchy little birds. This one at least
I'm
had
good
some
for it.
fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed For the Birds a little bit more, but I can concede. I think
Let's not.
Old Man
let's
Band.
start at the bottom. We're gonna start at the bottom. So Tin Toy. Who thinks this is a better short than Tin Toy? Who thinks this is a better short than For the Birds? We have a tie.
I'll do it. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
All right,
It's a
Nick,
stupid
let's
ass
stand
short,
up.
you know.
I'm the only one to put my hand down for the Birds. Who thinks this is a better short than Knick Knack? A hand came down. TJ's hand came down. Nick's hand came down. Alex's hand stayed up. So, as it stands, our list is at number 7, Tin Toy. Number 6, For the Birds. And number 5, One Man Band, a.k.a. Old Man Band. At number 4, we have Knick Knack. At number 3, we have Boundin'. Number 2 is Luxo Jr. And at number 1, Jerry's Game.
All right.
I got to stretch.
Before we get into this, I'm doing something unprecedented.
Ooh, okay.
Mitch, get
Yes.
your fucking wife on the headphones.
Carmen,
Give her the shocky pair. I don't care.
you
I'm
have
going to
been-
make a case.
This
And
Listen.
I've done this twice now, and she has screwed me.
Listen, you can
your
try to make a
question.
case. Like, look at what Toy Story 2 happened. You know, like
Yeah.
we did that.
I know. I'm gonna make a case, but I have a feeling this is.
I
Gonna
mean,
come
I was going to
down.
call in my sister as a ringer, but if you want Carmen, I'll get her.
No.
Ooh.
No, that's
No,
bias.
keep it consistent,
That's
Carmen.
bias.
All right,
Yeah.
Bias. We're calling my wife in. Like,
But never mind. It's bias. She's already a part of the
Alright,
podcast.
all right, we're getting into ranking this movie. TJ, I don't know if she's bringing her chair over. I think she might she's just chilling.
Yep.
I'm gonna get these all untangled and get you on mic. There you
I
go.
can move over. I
I'm
can sit
going.
on-
I'm going.
Okay. Hello.
All right. So, I have a feeling that this is gonna come down to a tiebreaker. And in the past, Carmen, you fucked me. So you're here.
what?
You're gonna hear.
That's my wife you're talking about.
You're gonna hear my stance on this, and do with it as you will. But just know I'm making a case here, okay? Cars, even though you fell asleep, it is a fantastic movie and Pixar's best, according to this list, because this is already a messed up list. But because of a few things. One, it is
You!
far better. What?
You did this list to us. This is your
Shut
fault.
up.
I mean, we all did it
One.
at this point.
One, because it is just graphically and animation, it is just beautiful. It is the best Pixar has done after the kind of downward spiral, to my opinion, that was Incredibles. Story-wise, yes, while the overarching story is very generic, the comeback of Lightning McQueen and also the growth of Doc as a character. Even Mater, he gets a friend, he grows. Sally learns, oh, this guy's not just an asshole, he's a better person. Everyone in this movie grows as a character. That didn't happen in The Incredibles.
100% it did. You watched a different
No.
movie.
Yeah, you
Just learned how to run.
Yo,
That's all
how?
he
Okay,
did,
okay. Pound for pound, how many fart jokes are in Incredibles, let alone to Cars? Because half this movie is fucking fart jokes.
And
Car poop caused global warming.
Car poop calls go.
Carpool caused global
I rest my
warming.
case.
Yeah.
All right, and then just shot for shot, this is a far more entertaining movie than our number one spot, The Incredibles. Do with that as you will.
Wait, it's not.
Incredibles
It's
is
not.
not
It's not
number
number
one.
one. First off,
The
so,
list as it stands, at number 6, we have A Bug's Life. At number 5, we have Finding Nemo. At number 4, we have Toy Story. At number 3, we have Toy Story 2. At number 2, we have The Incredibles. And at number 1, we have Monsters, Inc.
This is still better than Monsters Inc. because Monsters Inc. is definitely not number one to begin with. So
Wow.
Well, there you go. There you go.
No.
I was gonna say, there you go. You just.
So that is my argument. Do with it as you will.
Okay. Carmen notwithstanding, because we're going to vote core 4, and she's our tiebreaker. By show of hands, we're starting from the bottom. Who thinks this is a better film than A Bug's Life? By show of hands.
I'll give you that.
Everyone's hand went up except Alex. Okay, so we have 3, 4, 1 against. Who thinks this is a better film than Finding Nemo?
I'll give you that.
The same 3 hands stayed up. Who thinks this is a better film than Toy Story? We did not need the tiebreaker. The only hand to remain is TJ's. He made his case. This is not a better movie than Toy Story.
For YouTube, can we put like 2
Hey.
little cars on his fingers?
Hold on.
We
Hold on.
should.
Editing.
Motherfucker, hold on. You voted Monsters Inc. higher than Toy Story 2. Even you admitted that's not a better movie than Toy Story.
It's not better than Toy Story, but it's better than Toy Story 2. This is a better movie. This is not a better movie than Toy Story 2. That's what changed. That's what
This is
changed.
a farce.
You're yelling. I can
Recount.
hear you.
This is not. This is like I'm being nice. I'm being nice with my ranking.
Recount.
Okay. Let's rewind a bit. If he had dropped his hand, do you think this is a better movie than Finding Nemo?
No.
I'm glad Nick left his hand up because the list as it stands
Yeah.
at number 7, we have A Bug's Life. At number 6, we have Finding Nemo. At number 5, we have Cars. Number 4, we have Toy Story.
Wait, is this a better movie than Finding Nemo?
Yeah.
No. Finding Nemo's better.
No,
You didn't get a vote.
It
It
definitely
didn't
is.
tie.
It definitely is better than Finding Nemo.
At number 4, we have Toy Story. At number 3, we have Toy Story 2. At number 2, we have The Incredibles. And our number 1, as it has been for weeks, Monsters Incorporated.
Not a bad
Wait for our
list.
final episode. Cannot wait.
Oh man, this is gonna
That's
be
all
a
I got.
fun
Anyone got
final
any-
episode.
All right. That's all I got. Anyone else got any closing thoughts before I close out the show?
What's next week?
Our next episode in 2 weeks' time will be Disney Pixar's Ratatouille.
I am so excited for this.
Oh,
Ratatouille
thank
is
DJ,
so
I've never
good.
seen it.
Not seen
No,
Or no, yeah.
I
Nick has not
have
seen it.
never seen it, and I am excited.
I'm
It's the
so
first-
envious of you.
I
It's the
think you
first
should
one on our
watch it.
list.
Don't watch it with us.
Oh, I'm
Watch
not.
it with
Watch
us,
it on
watch
your
it
own.
on
I'm
your
not.
own
I'm
first.
yeah,
not.
definitely.
Yeah.
Where's my Remy? Remy's coming out.
No,
you
I'm
put him in
I'm-
storage, I think.
I'm honestly excited for this because everyone has talked so highly of it, and
Don't let our
well, and
It's my favorite.
I've personally seen some scenes of it just by route of memes, and I am excited for it.
good.
I'm
All right.
yeah.
Well, until next time, thank you for tuning into this episode of YYZ Video. If you enjoyed what you just heard, be sure to check out Press YYZ everywhere you can find us: Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and podcast services all over. And of course, the rest of the crew is on their various social media. Links and tags and handles and all that is in the description of this video, anywhere you can find it. And until next time, we'll see you at the movies.
Life is a high.
Life may be a highway, but poop is global warming.
lord.
It's global warming. Quote me right.
And did I stutter?
And pace.
Did I stutter?
You forgot a word.
No, I am a
God
car.
damn it.
Are we still recording?
You stopped the recording, right?
No, this is going in. I'm vengeance!